Hi everyone, Tesla Toybox here. I'm gonna go ahead and call this one not a Tesla LightShow tutorial video, since it'll be a simple walkthrough of how I go about creating a show. Now, let's get going and make a show. First thing you'll want to do is head over to GitHub Tesla Motors /LightShow, where you'll have absolutely everything you need in order to get going. It'll be able to answer any questions you might have. To be honest, I skipped the vast majority of the site, which is why my style might be a bit rudimentary and have some flaws. I basically just started playing around in X-Lights until I figured some things out and was able to put a show together. After checking out GitHub, which is basically going to send you to download X-Lights, followed by some goofing around with the program, one of the first things I did is make myself a cheat sheet. I wanted to have a visual representation with all the information I needed in order to keep track of things. Having the light names and locations right next to me was a huge help. I'll post a link in the description just in case anyone might be interested. Once you've selected a song you want to play around with, head over to X-Lights. There's been a few updates to the site since I got going, but if anybody wants to follow along, I'm still on version 2023.09.3. I did mess around with some of the newer versions, but I was really happy with how the older one worked and didn't want to start transferring everything over, so I decided to go back. Once on X-Lights, go to New Sequence. From here, select Musical Sequence. Find the MP3 for the song you'll be working on. Under Sequence Settings, click Custom. From here, change the frame interval to 20, which will make it 50 frames per second. Unfortunately, on Select View, you only have one option, which is a Model S. So you can go ahead and click Done. Bam! We are up and running. Definitely start playing around with the site until you have it set up the way you like it. The first thing I do is I rearrange the car on the left-hand side, and I try to make it as small as possible while still being able to see the lights I need. Then I'll head over to the color section. Unclick red since you'll only be using white. Let's move over to the other settings. You won't need layer blending or settings, so you can just delete those two. In order to have as much space as possible, I drag the effects settings to the top right hand side. This one is very important to keep. There are a lot of things that you'll be able to do, such as adding fade effects, shimmer, and it's where you'll be able to add the commands for the tailgate, the mirrors, the windows, the charge port, and all that stuff. Now you can grab the master view and pull it all the way to the top. After that, under New Timing, click Tesla Model S. Then click on All Lights and Closures. It'll open up the menu for all the lights, as well as the doors, the liftgates, the mirrors, and the charge port. Now, we are finally ready to start creating a show. For this demonstration, I figured I'd pick something that's relatively easy, chill to make in case somebody wants to follow along. So for the song, I selected Carmen Suite No. 2, Habanera by Bizet. When I get going, the first thing I do is I immediately head over to the audio files and take a look at the waves. Now for this song, in the beginning, the audio is so low that I didn't really have big waves to look at, but fortunately with the volume slightly up, you can hear the song pretty well. When on the audio menu, pressing the space bar will start and stop the song. Then with the arrow, I click on the mouse pad where I want to set my marker. By pressing T, it will draw the line that you'll be able to see downwards and through the light menu down below. This is where things turn into a lot of rinse and repeat. I let the song play a little bit and then immediately start visualizing which lights I want, where I want them, and when I want the flash to start and to stop. I set the markers at every beat and usually work around 10-15 seconds in advance, then head back and start adding the functions for the lights. I also do the front and the back right away instead of having to do one side and then come back and do the other. This feels way less tedious for me. The only drawback is that you'll have to move the car around from the front to the back a lot more often. One huge tip: make sure you save the progress and save very often. X-Lights could be pretty finicky at times. Now that I have a bunch of markers in place, I'll begin adding in the lights. Since the car rendering is for a Model S, but I own a Model 3, this is where I would use my cheat sheet quite a bit in the beginning in order to get a visual representation of which lights I wanted to turn on or off and in what location. After some time, I began saving some of the sequences I fell in love with and added them into the Effects Presets menu, just in case I wanted to reuse them again in the future. The only thing you'll have to do is recustomize them to the appropriate length. How to get to the Effect Preset settings is I highlight the outer left main beam, double click on the mouse pad, head down to Effects, click Presets, and in the menu you'll have anything you've saved. I've named mine based on hints that'll help me remember what the functions would do. I totally just realized I busted myself out, but yes, my main effect is called Awesome because I think it's awesome looking. Now that we are officially on the road towards making a show, I'd say play around with different combinations, different styles, different effects. The shimmer is a really cool one. You can play around with the brightness, which is something that I should have figured out way sooner than when I did. You can also do some fading in or out depending on what the song is doing. Things like that. Let the creativity flow and see where it takes you. Personally, I've always enjoyed building puzzles and things of that nature, so I've been having an absolute blast making these shows. Now, a couple of quick tips. You don't always have to drag down every single light, and you can definitely speed things up and save some time by using some hotkeys. You can do an individual light, a full row, or an entire portion of the sequence by highlighting it. I'm currently using a MacBook, so for me, it's Command C to copy and Command V to paste. Here's a quick demonstration of me doing copying and pasting for part of the sequence. For now, I'm going to speed this up until close to the end. That way this thing doesn't turn into an ASMR video. In the meantime, if you have any questions, just let me know. And please remember to do all of the YouTube things such as like, subscribe, and something about smashing a bell. I would truly appreciate it. And don't forget, go check out TeslaLightShows.io. It's an awesome site, and if you ever get going and make your own shows, that's a place where you'll be able to share it with the rest of the community. Now that the show sequencing is finished, it's time to transfer it into a USB drive. Here's a quick walkthrough of how to get the sequence onto the drive, into your car, and how to play it. First thing you'll need is a USB drive. I don't think you'll have to worry too much about the size, since the files won't be large at all. After plugging in the USB into the computer, we have to make sure that we have the correct format. Double click on the folder for the menu to pop up. Then click Get Info. Depending on what operating system you're running, things might look a bit different for you. There's a few different formats that can be used. I've always used a Mac and have always formatted the drive on MS DOS FAT16. In the drive, create a folder name LightShow. Make sure the L on light and the S on show are capitalized and no spaces in between. You'll need to add 2 files into the LightShow folder, both to be named LightShow. One is the audio MP3 or WAV file, along with the FS/EQ, which is the show sequence. Once done with that, you're good to eject the drive from the computer, and it's time to go play the show in the car. Okay, now that we are inside the car, insert the USB stick into the designated slot. For some of you, it might be in the glove box, but for me, since I have an early version Model 3, it's right down below the screen. After that's done, click on the Toybox icon. Then, find the disco ball and click on LightShow. After that, tap the screen for Schedule Now. Then on the LightShow menu, it'll give you the option of the 2 shows that were already programmed inside the car. If you inserted the USB stick correctly, instead of the programmed shows, it'll say Custom LightShow. At this point, we are officially finished with everything, and now all that's left is to go outside and enjoy the show. I'll add the finished LightShow video in the recommendations section at the end of this video. I truly hope this was helpful, and if you start creating your shows, please let me know. I'd love to check them out. Again, if you have any questions, just send them my way. That's it for now. This one has been a lot of fun. I really hope you liked it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.